Good morning! It's Sunday, and I decided to continue with the Unplayed Steam Library series we've been doing. Next up, as we are going alphabetically, we are still in the A's. This game is called Ambition, a Minuet in Power. I think I'm going to turn down the music volume a little bit more. And let me know if that's too low. Yeah, we are at least halfway through. We're actually a little more than halfway through the A's in the Steam library. This one is another one that I got in a Humble Bundle. I do feel like my strategy of playing through all of these games is working, because I haven't really been tempted to buy any more, because it's like, oh, I'll have to play them in this series, and this series will never end. So it's kind of working on the whole saving money front. But yeah, this one I don't know much about. It is a point and click, I think visual novel type Obviously set in old-timey times. So I guess we will jump into it. I don't have anything to continue, so we'll just do a new game. Prologue, Yvette's story. Okay, it sounds like there isn't really voice acting, so I will, oh no. T-Bone just went somewhere and texted me, oh, they don't actually open till 10 on Sundays. Ugh! The carriage rumbles and bounces along the cobbles as you approach Paris. It's taken over a week to get here, even carrying just yourself and your luggage. Your fiancé, Armand, arranged for the carriage to take you from your small village to a tavern he enjoys called the Orphan's Feast. There, he'll meet up with you, you'll likely take dinner together, and then he'll show you to your new home in Paris. For now, though, you've already finished all of your books, and Armand's letter is your only entertainment other than staring out the window. Might as well take in the sights. Reading the letter one more time wouldn't hurt. Coachman, let's go. I don't have all day. So this is my first choice. Oh, this choice is for characterization purposes. It will not impact your path or stats, so just speak your mind. I'm curious to see what the letter says. You must have read the brief letter over 100 times, but you've always found new details to puzzle over. Armand's letters were often extremely long, a habit you would frequently tease him for in your own missives. Chère Yvette, I know it may be sudden, but I want to invite you to live with me in Paris. Back in your provincial hometown, you were engaged to Armand before he moved north to Paris to participate in the Estates General. He dreamed of changing the country, and this was the political event of the century. You mailed love letters soaked in perfume. He replied with volumes about how much he misses you. The romance of it all helped make up for the inconvenience. Not that your parents cared much about romance. What genre did it say the game was? Point-and-click visual novel, although there isn't much visual so far. Yeah, point-and-click RPG visual novel type genre. Not that your parents cared much about the romance. At first you'd been afraid to tell them their youngest daughter wanted to move far away. Instead, they nearly threw you onto the carriage to follow Armand to Paris. Probably want to make an honest woman out of you. While you understood the significant benefits your common family will receive from your marriage into a noble one, you couldn't help but be a little annoyed at their eagerness to see you off. I can't wait for you to see it. It's unlike anything back home. A truly vital place where anyone can be anything. Je t'embrasse? I didn't take French in high school, so I don't know. Armand. That was something you were looking forward to, a chance to be something more. After all, Baroness Yvette de Marbeau had a certain ring to it. You pick up the pace. After a quiet sigh, the coachman obediently flicks at the reins on the horses, up their pace to a brisk trot. The city blurs by as you quickly make your way toward the Orphan's Feast, the tavern where Armand said he would meet you. As tired and rumpled as you are, you're glad that he arranged to meet you in a place with ample food and wine. When you arrive, the coachman helps you out of the carriage and you find yourself outside a glowing, friendly-looking tavern. The sign shows a grubby-looking child holding a plate piled high with fresh bread and roasted meats. Must be the place. Inside, a woman polishing a lantern looks up as you enter, and her face breaks into a bright smile. Bonjour, madame, and welcome to the Orphan's Feast. Her eyes linger expectantly on the door for a moment before settling on you. You're suddenly reminded of how rare it is for a woman to travel by themselves. How may I be of service? She asks. Do we want to do the tutorial? I mean, how much of a tutorial can there really be? It's a point-and-click game. I see we have stats and stuff. I guess we should probably do the tutorial. Is there anything I should know to help me find my fiancé? It did mention stats, yeah. Yeah, I have money and some stats up here. Credibility and peril. The peril almost looks like a Phyrexian symbol. But, of course, the Phyrexian symbol is not just the Phyrexian symbol. It goes back and means badness in general. Don't worry, while the rest of the city can be rather cutthroat, the Orphan's Feast is a relaxed place for getting your feet under you. The woman puts down the lantern she was polishing. She favors you with a devious smile. Find guests worth talking to, and try to say the right things to the right people. You'll never have time to talk to everyone, so try to use your time wisely. Ooh, that's good to know. I'm sure that if you ask around, you'll be able to find your fiancé in no time. When she puts it that way, it suddenly sounds so easy. While you only have one outfit to your name at the moment, the Orphan's Feast doesn't feel like a particularly judgmental place in terms of fashion. Your credibility won't be shifted by what you're wearing here. Oh no! Oh, Super Bass, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that things, get better for you. Wouldn't do much good, so you just, communicate to a few friends what's going on. So you're gonna drown your sorrows in zombie killing? I suppose that works. As long as you explore the tavern and talk to people, you should be able to find Armand soon enough. Ever see a zombie literally fly because a crossbow went up its rump at Mach 6? No, I've not. So this is a party map. Select a room to talk with the people there. And so I have a limited number of turns. That's what they mean by I can't talk to everybody. So I will pick this conversation. A reason for travel. A fellow traveler sits at a nearby table, having recently become acquainted with Paris himself. Perhaps he'll be able to point you in the right direction. Potential rewards. I can increase favor with this guy. I can increase my credibility or damage it. I can increase peril. I can increase Alex favor. And Honorade favor. Alright. It's good for coping. You approach a man standing by himself. His wig is slightly disheveled, and he has fresh mud on his boots. Ah, bonjour, madame. You must have just arrived in Paris as well, he says affably. Where did you journey from? I'll say it was nowhere significant. I'm happier to be here, since he seems to also be enthusiastic to be in Paris. Well, madame, you are in luck, for you have arrived in the most significant city in all the world. What has brought you to this bustling metropolis? I'm in Paris because my fiancé Armand is here. You traveled all the way here for your fiancé? Such love and devotion reminds me of when I was your age. His eyes have a far-off look for a moment. Never let yourself lose sight of such things. If that is why you are here, you might want to seek out those associated with the church. Love and tradition are very much on their minds. You've gained a little favor with members of the church. Don't worry, you'll meet them later. So this Armand, what brought him to Paris? Let's tell the truth. The Baron de Marmbo? Why does that name sound so familiar? His eyes go wide for a moment before settling into an expression of discomfort. Gathering up his things, he starts preparing to leave. Sorry, madame. I simply haven't been here long enough to know about him. This choice will increase your peril by a small amount. This choice requires an easy credibility challenge. I said D&D savvy. I have played Dungeons and Dragons once before, and I also played a few different RPGs. previously. I've done like 3 different games. This entire game is basically what we call social combat. Oh, great. My worst nightmare. This will be challenging for me. A lot of DMs say that they are good at, but they aren't. I have 0 credibility, so I feel like I'm probably gonna fail this credibility check. But I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I don't think I want to increase my peril. So please, are you sure you can't tell me anything? Yeah, tutorial, may as well check. He sighs and looks from side to side, obviously torn on what to do. Getting close to you, he whispers, "If you must know, madame, your fiancé has made a powerful enemy, and if you don't know how he did that, then you might want to reconsider him entirely." Ooh. Without another word, he drains his wine glass and leaves. While you may have learned something, you feel like you still have more questions than answers. You should be able to clear all of this up when you find Armand. My fiancé has made a powerful enemy. Oh no!
No, I didn't.
What? No, I'm talking about in-game, babe.
Oh, I have no enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is, I'm engaged and I've just come to Paris to find, my fiancé Armand, but apparently he's made a powerful enemy. This is a social combat game, apparently.
Social combat.
Yeah.
Combat.
Yeah. It's a point-and-click visual novel type thing. So I have limited time at the party. Click anywhere to continue. Okay. Oh, the other person went away. Or are they over here now? I guess we'll pick this conversation since it's my only option. So that's good to know. Not only do I have limited turns, but in between turns, people can move. Because there was somebody up here, and they're not there anymore. The term came up because in D&D you have to ask, should this award experience? A countrywoman, now that you're more acclimated to the guests and travelers of the Orphan's Feast, you should be able to find someone that can lead you to Armand. I will pick conversation because it is the only one. After hours of questioning and searching, it is late in the evening, and you've still yet to find Armand. You're not even sure why, but you feel exhausted. Who knew talking to people was such hard work? Now that you're warmed up, this may be your chance to finally find out where Armand is. You approach a woman who you had spotted glancing your way earlier. So this one does not. This is not an important choice. I like that it marks that, hey, this will not affect your stats. For D&D, the 3 general sections of gameplay are combat, non-combat, and social combat. So social combat is like rolling persuasion and stuff, right? I'm just gonna be direct. At the mention of Armand's name, she laughs nervously. She makes small talk for a brief moment before excusing herself and disappearing into the crowd. The room appears to be emptying out. A gentleman you remember seeing earlier walks by. He might prove a little useful. Have you seen my fiancé? He looks at you, glances over to the woman you spoke with earlier, then quickens his pace as he walks by. The room is emptying out even faster now. You manage to get the attention of another woman. She doesn't even slow down before she leaves. Oh god. After a third person gives you the cold shoulder, you start to wonder what happened. Are you really that out of place? Is it something about Armand? What's going on here? Non-combat refers to pretty much any form of danger and uncertainty that aren't social or direct fighting. Still, you check around the Orphan's Feast one last time. There's no sign of Armand, not even an open tab with the tavern keep. He said he would meet me here! After waiting around for a few hours, you leave the Orphan's Feast, dragging your small mountain of luggage behind you. After all, the coach was only hired to take you to the tavern. Armand may not have been waiting for you like he said he would, but you memorized his address from all the times you wrote it on your letters to him. Well, for example, you're exploring an ancient temple. Is there danger here? Ah. It's the middle of the night, but the street is still teeming with life. The light from the windows and street lamps sparkle like stars. You're tired and your feet hurt, but still you can't help but smile. This is it. This is Paris. I almost said Paris. No matter what happens, you're still here. For a brief moment, you're not a country girl dragging luggage through the streets. You're the person you feel that you are when you close your eyes alone. You're overseeing a grand salon surrounded by poets, musicians, scientists, philosophers, and artists. You are elegant, sophisticated, and respected. Ambition indeed. Perhaps and such get what's called a challenge rating, which is the same thing used to grade both players and NPC encounters. You're getting close to the address. Armand never described his living conditions much, but he is the son of a baron, and his family was always well-to-do, especially compared to yours. You've spent a lot of time in that carriage wondering about the home you would spend your new life in. Still, you didn't expect this. A giant can be a CR8, as can a trap. Okay. Calling the house rustic would imply that you were out in the country, not in the center of the city. The neighborhood is nice enough, but you're worried if you breathe too hard in the building, it'll fall over. A well-kept woman in the attire of a maid opens the door and approaches you. Ah, bonsoir. I assume you must be Madame Yvette. My name is Camille. Monsieur Armand told me to expect you. Oh god, the rats in the city ate him. Impossible, madame. I've taken care of all the rats myself, Camille replied, emphasizing her point with a playful stomp of her foot. Eyeing her worn shoes, you have a feeling the rats didn't go quietly. Thank you, Camille. Do you think Armand's alright? I'm sure he's fine, madame. Camille replies with a tone of voice that doesn't fill you with confidence. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I haven't seen Monsieur Armand in days. I was hoping he was with you. Oh no, maybe he is dead.
Oh, shit.
Glancing around, Camille seems to notice your mountain of luggage for the first time. Mon Dieu, madame! Did you carry all this yourself? You must be exhausted. Boy, the character faces are very expressive. Like cartoony. She's not wrong. You're not certain how you're still upright and awake right now. I've already made your bed, madame. Please go inside and let me take care of this. You take your diary and leave the heavy lifting to Camille. The inside of the house isn't much better than the outside. Camille keeps the place tidy, but she can only do so much. Still, you don't care about that right now. You're just happy to have a roof over your head. That's a comma splice. Comma splice.
What?
Still, you don't care about that right now. You are just happy to have a roof over your head. Those are two independent clauses. They should be conjoined by a semicolon or be two separate sentences.
Nerd.
Did you just call me a nerd?
Mm-hmm.
I am a grammar nerd.
God.
You could also do, you don't care about that right now, comma, and you're just happy to have a roof over your head. That would also be allowed. But what is, the way it currently is, that's a comma splice. It's a very common grammar error. I got an achievement. Home sweet home. Arrive at your new home in Paris. You flop down on a nearby couch, open your diary, and start to write. You're tired, disappointed, and perhaps abandoned, but writing things down always helps you make sense of a situation. A CR8 should pose a noticeable challenge to a full team of level 8 players. Orphan's Feast, hosted by Duchess Marie-Therese Valois. Novelty lost, but I got one Ludovic. I didn't lose any novelty, I guess. I got a reward of one Ludovico favor. Okay, so that's, the journal is how I learn how I did in the conversations. Boy, getting a scorecard, that's pretty great. Early next morning, Camille approaches you. Also, imagine the level of meta if they put an achievement, wait 30 seconds or more on a screen where a semicolon should have been used instead of a comma. Yeah, that would be insane. Early next morning, Camille approaches you, occasionally wringing her apron with her hands. She is obviously nervous. Madame, there's something you should know. Taking a deep breath, she continues. You are expected to attend a party the day after tomorrow, held by one Viscountess Marcel de Poix. I mean, Armand replied to the invitation, but you were to be his date. You know about her. I'm sorry, madame, but a Viscountess, it just felt above my station, so I try not to pay attention whenever she came up, Camille replies with a shrug. I know that she never visited the house. Monsieur Armand seemed to like her, but from what I could tell, she was a little, how do I put this? Judgmental. She was a little, very judgmental. I hope that helps, madame. Well, at least have a party to go to. Camille looks visibly relieved. Parfait! If you need anything washed or prepared, just ask. That reminds me, Camille exclaims. If you're going to a party, you should probably make sure you are dressed appropriately. Fashion moves so quickly here that people retire outfits before they even wear out. At this proclamation, you can't help but notice Camille's uniform has been repaired many, many times. Camille continues, Monsieur Armand was always going through clothes so quickly. He said that every outfit had a certain amount of novelty. Every time you wore them to a party, the novelty would go down a bit. In fact, even a little thing like wearing the same thing twice in a row could run the novelty out faster. Can you imagine? Fortunately, he knew the most delightful coiffure on Rue des Faubourgs des Saint-Honoré. I mentioned again that I did not take French. She runs a shop called Le Petit Mongol. I'll draw you some directions. Immediately she starts sketching some directions, mostly just simple renderings of local landmarks. Frenchant. Yes, indeed, Superbase. Frenchant. Le Petit Mongol is now available to visit in the Paris map. If you head out today, you should be well prepared for the party tomorrow night. I have gained a level of exhaustion by attending a party. Any levels of exhaustion that you have, the start of... No! Okay, I moused over it and it stopped fading away. Any levels of exhaustion that you have at the start of a party or rendezvous will give you a penalty to your credibility. Worry not, for you'll discover ways to reduce your exhaustion soon. How much French does Letters know? A wee bit. Badumts. He spelled wee, like the French for yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's March? I guess Mars is March. That's a cultured joke. I guess I will explore Paris? And I will go to the shop. Because it sounds like I need to maybe buy a dress. A small shop run by the dressmaker Fatima Shenna. Spend your day here to buy and sell wardrobe items. Visit location. It's a long walk to Rue des Faubourgs Saint-Honoré, but this trek to the narrow street is worth it. I do know that Rue means street. Every block hums with a vibrant energy bursting with life. Porters and social climbers wind their way through the streets, festooned with brightly colored parcels. Paris may be a city swimming in fashion and finery, but this is the source. This street is home to all the major fashion houses in the country, and to Rose Bertin, personal dressmaker to the Queen herself. And now you're here. Back home, they sigh and dream of places like this, then quietly get back to their little lives. Not you. Your circumstances may be less than ideal, but you're still here. Le Petit Mongol, you mumble to yourself idly, trying to make sure you remember the name of the shop. Eventually, you find a small boutique tucked between some far grander buildings. You open the door and walk into the tiny shop, which seems even smaller due to how absolutely full it is. This isn't just a boutique, it's a workshop for whoever works here. Rolls of gorgeous fabric cover every available surface. A cloying smoke hangs in the air. The scent is pleasant, but wholly unfamiliar. As soon as the door swings shut behind you, you hear a sudden rustling of fabric further in the store. A customer! Hamdullah! A surprisingly young voice calls out. Bonjour, madame, and welcome to Le Petit Mongol. A woman, presumably the owner, calls out to you. How may I help you? All of this is so new. What can you tell me about outfits and fashion? At these words, she looks giddy to the point of bursting, but she tries to play it off with a knowing smile. This deception is only half successful. Oh, I think I can help with that. I get to dress my character, it would seem. Select one of my lovely outfits to see if it is to your liking. Remember, my stock changes every day, so be sure to visit often. Oh, so it different outfits have different stats. So they all have novelty, but it looks like they can influence my standing with different groups. The crown, the church, the military, the bourgeoisie, and the revolution. And novelty goes down as it's used at parties.
Oh, crap. Are you on the French Revolution?
1780s? So, possibly?
Oh, he's dead.
Armand is dead, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's hard, because there were 2 French revolutions, right? There was... Well, yeah,
I'm talking about the one that everybody's heard of. Not...
Yeah, 1780s. The French Revolution was like right after ours. So, yeah, it's probably French Revolution time.
Oh, shit.
So maybe I should be ingratiating myself to the revolution. Or at least not upsetting myself with them. It's actually a big part of why ours worked so well was because they were about to have theirs. Yeah, the French, as we learned in Hamilton, we ended up not having to, be allied with the French when they had their revolution because, we made a deal with the French king, and then he was dead. So we didn't have to, like, defend him or anything. So we just said we were neutral. I believe I already got a few points with the church. So I could maybe stand to lose a few points with them. The church likes this outfit, probably because I'm not showing my boobs. More expensive, more expensive. I only have 100, so I can't purchase this, or this, or this. My choices are this or this. So I think I'm going to do this one. And save my money. Because I think they're fairly similar stat-wise. Although this party is being held by the crown. So maybe I should actually go with one that doesn't damage my crown standing. It's not about playing perfectly, it's about playing the path you want. Oh, I don't know what path I want. The entire point of a visual novel is playing to multiple endings. I'm just trying to make sure I don't end up dead. Flower dress or purple dress? I think I'm gonna go with the purple dress. It's cheaper. And yeah, I'll have -3 crown, but the crown's gonna lose anyway. As T-Bone pointed out, we're at French Revolution time, so I think we gotta run an ad real quick, so I shall do that. I've just spent some of my money. Libras are used to buy outfits, pay servants, and more. Try to make sure you always have some on hand. Yeah, so it's like, I could buy both. Actually, I can't. I can't afford both. So I leave the shop. Okay, so that used up the whole day. I was expecting there to be more after that, so I think I'm actually gonna wait until the ad is over here. But yeah, so I went to the shop, bought a dress, and that was the full day. It didn't give me any option to, like, do anything else. Maybe because there was nothing else to do? Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we should be back. So Super Race, I don't know if you saw because of the ad break, but at the end I bought the dress and then I said leave shop, and then it was just like, okay, it's the next day now, so there wasn't anything else I could do that day. So I don't know if that's because there wasn't anything else I could do, or if you can only take one action per day. So we'll probably find out later, but it's the next day. You awaken to the vision of sunlight filtering through the shutters, scattering sunbeams across this dusty bedroom. It takes a few minutes before you groggily remember the events that brought you here. You also remember that tonight you have a party to attend. Camille enters your bedroom, already full of cheer. Madame, when would you like to start getting ready? I still have some things I need to take care of today. Camille winces at the statement and looks at the floor. I don't know how to tell you this, madame, but party preparations for a woman of your station usually take all day. On days when you have a party, you won't really have time to spend exploring Paris. Once you go to your wardrobe, we can get started. I've never really done anything like this. Is there anything I should know? Don't worry, madame. A glamorous woman like yourself is sure to catch on quickly. Click here to go to the wardrobe. Oh, okay. Okay, so go to the party doesn't take me directly to the party. So I can wear my provincial outfit. Or I can wear my fancy dress. Viscountess Marcel Lefoy private gathering is an intimate gathering of her most loyal peers for fine entertainment and elegant merriment. Just, yeah, every time I wear it, it loses value. Yeah. Eagerly awaited. I'm a little bit tempted to just go in my regular outfit. It's novel. You're like, yeah, I just got here. Does it appeal to the situation? I mean, it has a higher crown rating than the thing I bought, so I kind of feel like, yeah, I'm just gonna wear my provincial outfit. Now that I have an outfit selected, I can go to the party. When your carriage drops you off at the party, you find yourself waiting in line for quite some time. Looking at the other guests, you wonder if you're underdressed or overdressed. It's awfully hard to tell. While trying to determine whether you're feeling underdressed or overdressed, you pause to consider how well rested you feel. Unfortunately, you can feel exhaustion set in as soon as you think of the full itinerary ahead of you. Tonight is going to be a long night. Party type means the most common scenarios, and there will be other factions present. Ah, okay. Being exhausted will give me a credibility penalty. Good thing I was already at 0 credibility. You look over yourself one last time and confirm that you are wearing your provincial outfit to a party held by the crown. The guests have no strong feelings on your outfit, and your credibility has not changed much. Okay, so I think I made the right call. With preparations like this, the result of tonight could be a toss-up. While you're determining your standing in the world of fashion, you manage to overhear an interesting rumor while in line. You make mental note of it, just in case. You have gained a piece of cheap crown gossip. This will be useful later. Immediately upon entering the vestibule, you're greeted by a doorman holding a small ledger. While he isn't physically barring your entry, his manner certainly is. Name, madame? He asks expectantly. No name. Doorman looks perplexed for you a moment, flipping through his ledger. I do not see your name here, madame. I am Baron Armand de Marbeau's date. He could not attend. Ah, that is most unfortunate, the doorman replies, surprisingly disappointed. The good Viscountess de Poix was so looking forward to seeing him tonight. Please convey our deepest regrets at his absence, our well wishes to his health. Is there anything I can get you? This choice will cost money. Yeah, I'll spend the money. With a small flourish, you present a bottle of wine that you had the forethought to bring earlier. It wasn't cheap, but the gesture is more important. Ah, merci beaucoup, madame. I shall make sure the Viscountess is aware of your generosity. Turning from you, he waves imperiously to another servant nearby, who takes the bottle from you. Afterward, the servant dutifully scurries away. You hear some appreciative murmurs from other guests in the vestibule. Your gratitude and enthusiasm seems to have made an impression on them, doing away with some of the tension in the air. Surprisingly, the doorman himself seems rather unfazed. I have lost a tiny amount of peril, and I have gained a tiny amount of credibility. Before you can ask any other questions, he bows deeply to you. Pardonnez-moi, Madame Viscountess de Foix instructed me specifically to inform her as soon as you had arrived. We have heard so much about you. You just said you didn't know who I was. Super Race says he sent T-Bone a picture from my game that should make him giggle. There is a zombie in there. Oh! Yeah. A bloody-looking foot. Enjoy the party, he says with a smile before leaving. Okay, so I have 2 turns. I cannot talk to everyone. This guy looks familiar. The gentleman who just entered the room seems like he's been to quite a few of these sorts of events. Perhaps he can tell you more about the host of the party, Viscountess Marcel de Foix. If I return to party... Okay, so I can pick conversation and look at it, and then go back, so I can get all the information. Some guests are admiring a painting of the hostess. Apparently it was painted by someone of considerable skill. In fact, you might even be able to meet such a person later. Party... A pair of ladies are whispering amongst themselves about some rumor concerning the family of His Majesty King Louis the 16th. That information could be useful later. Sure, I'll collect some cheap crown gossip. You approach a pair of women who are already in the midst of conversation, speaking quickly and low voices. They don't seem to have noticed you. It's been days since the Queen has made any official appearances at Versailles. One of the women fiercely whispers to the other. It's said the Dauphin's health is worsening. She spends every minute by his side. Your ears perk up at this. The Queen's eldest son is only 7 years old, but he's been afflicted with consumption for years now. Rumors don't have much value, but if there's some evidence to this claim, this could be valuable gossip indeed. I love how gossip has a capital G. He's overcome the condition before. Perhaps he'll do it again. Use a credibility challenge. Pardonnez-moi, here to mention consumption. My brother suffered from 2. Eavesdrop, which is dangerous. Subre says, update on that photo. I apparently missed the shot and blew the stall door clean off with my crossbow. Despite this, the zombie was somehow still not alerted to my presence due to my stealth rating.
That's phenomenal.
I'm gonna try the credibility check. It says it's an easy check, so... Your brother never actually came down with the illness, but he's not here to contest that fact. You smile and pretend to be oblivious as to what they're discussing, so as to mask your intent. Well, our friend's son has been sick for quite some time now, and she's been taking it quite hard. I recently heard that she privately vowed not to leave her son's side until he slept through the night, but she's been with him for over a week. He keeps waking in fits of coughing. You nod with the appropriate look of concern, while hungrily memorizing details. The Queen's swearing vows, lives hanging in the balance. This is what makes quality gossip. You have gained a piece of cheap crown gossip. This will be useful later. You continue to chat with them as they dance around the issue of who exactly you are talking about. You hopefully offer up some home remedies for coughing fits that you've heard of in the past, and they act as graceful as etiquette requires. Eventually you part ways with each other so you can explore the rest of the party. Okay, so this looks like my only option. Marcel appears. A woman in a staggeringly pink dress is approaching you, carrying her pet dog. Judging by the way other guests are looking at her, you can surmise that this is the Viscountess Marcel de Foix, the woman who invited you and Armand here. Alright. Hit conversation. Ooh, she's kind of scary looking. You nearly mistake the woman standing in front of you for some kind of walking confection. A pampered dog lounges in her arms. I don't believe we have had the chance to properly introduce ourselves. I am Viscountess Marcel de Foix. Her voice raises in volume imperceptibly, but it's enough to draw the attention of a large crowd in the room. Everyone, this is Yvette, Armand's fiancée. A murmur of interest washes through the crowd, and you can feel their eyes focus on you. A Viscount is a pretty big deal, and this is his partner, yeah. I am so glad to see you. Armand, that ambitious little thing, has told me so much about you. In fact, I'd say he's quite infatuated with you. A common girl like yourself. You're so lucky. I gained a little credibility. Where is Armand, by the way? This is a tough choice. In order of hierarchy, a Viscount is above a Baron, but below a Count. So she's asking, where is Armand, by the way? And then I have the option to say, that's actually what I was hoping to find out. Do you know where I could find him? Or an easy credibility challenge of, poor Armand is ill at the moment, but he insisted that I attend your party. I feel like if she's asking me where he is, she probably doesn't have any useful information about where he is. So I should probably lie and just say he's ill at the moment. I don't like that. But I think that's probably the correct choice. Oh, really? He insisted? Marcel trills, and her dog yips happily. Well, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm sure he'll be well soon. I mean, that's because we both know Armand's not sick. Uh-oh! I've gained some peril! While perilous decisions can often get you what you want, when your peril bar fills up, you're in trouble. Nobody's heard from your cowardly fiancé in weeks, which is especially surprising since he could never stop pestering his betters. The crowd, which only seems to be growing, murmurs in agreement. In fact, it's been so long, I thought I was rid of him once and for all. I have lost my credibility! No! Lying was the wrong choice! But now I have his cast-off fiancé, who even had the audacity to lie to my face. Why did you invite Armand here? Why? Well, those craven nationalists in their dingy salons like to hide behind their pamphlets and newsletters. People of quality must be brave enough to denounce our enemies in person. A lot of games will script losses. Yeah, it's possible there was no right answer. She pauses before speaking to a whisper loud enough for the entire room to hear. Don't worry, I don't expect you to understand this. I have lost credibility, not that I had any to lose. Your Armand is a conniving, traitorous opportunist who sullies the good name of the entire nobility just by being alive. The only reason he chose a common girl like yourself to be his wife is because any lady of good breeding would see him for the weasel he is. Marcel studies your face for a moment, and her voice suddenly fills with concern. Oh, you poor girl, don't look hurt. Think of this as educational. You don't belong in Paris, the same way a stray cat doesn't belong in that dress. She gestures dismissively at your finery, which is hilarious, because I did not actually wear my finery. Trying to look like us? Act like us? Stop. You're just embarrassing yourself. I've lost credibility like 5 times in a row. I'm still moderately fine. Have your good name impunged by the repugnant Viscountess Marcel. Viscountess Marcel de Bois. Now leave my estate and never show your face here again. What a bee! Before you can reply, a valet grabs you roughly by the arm and drags you from the room. People like Viscountess de Bois don't need to do their own dirty work. They have servants for it. It takes far longer than you'd like to get outside, as the entryway is crowded with guests preparing to leave. You can feel their eyes weighing heavily on you. When you finally get to the door, you feel a British shove, and you stumble out into the courtyard, barely keeping your balance in your heels. The area is equally crowded, with various persons entering their personal carriages. You hear somebody snicker, but you have no idea who it was. The thing left to do is go home. Sigh, this has been a night. I'll just leave. Choose and take the high ground, you straighten your posture and hold your head high, striding towards your carriage as if it was your intention to leave like this all along. While you make a great effort to hardly avoid eye contact with all of those watching you, you can tell that some of them are quite surprised by your decorum in this dire situation. I gained a little credibility. Nice. When you arrive at the place where your carriage is parked, you quickly find out that it isn't. It's gone. You check to make sure that it's in the right place, but to no avail. The carriage you hired is simply not there. He went home, a passing coachman said helpfully, while adjusting the harness on a particularly grumpy horse. Dorman came out about an hour ago and told him you wanted the coach to leave without you. Seemed real important, so he went home. Before you can even respond, he gets his carriage moving, leaving you alone with yet another indignity. Going back to Marcel is obviously unacceptable. It's too far to walk home, and most of the other guests have already left. However, there appears to be 3 other carriages waiting to leave, each of them quite different. Perhaps one of them can help? I don't have a ton of money, so I'm going to inspect the humble carriage to the left. The carriage to the left of you is a foreign design and features a gilded crest as its only ornamentation. This crest is emblazoned with a motto in Latin and appears to belong to a priest of some description. The curtains are drawn, but someone appears to have lit a lantern inside. Judging by the occupant's silhouette, it looks like he's reading. You consider the humble carriage for a moment. Is this who you'd like to ride with? A priest should be willing to help a poor innocent woman like myself. Let's go. Settled into your decision, you set out ready to entrust your fortune to a modest stranger. You reach out and knock on the door of the carriage. The silhouetted figure jumps in surprise. An accented voice calls out to you. Who is it? Father, my name is Yvette Decau. I am a common woman in need. Oh my, the voice behind the door calls out. After some bubbling, he parts the curtains on the carriage windows. Hello, Madame Decau. Don't worry. I'm sure there's something I can do for you. How may I help you? May I trouble you for a ride home? My coachman was tricked into leaving without me. For the first time today, you see someone look at you with genuine concern. How terrible! Please, come aboard. It's no trouble at all. He puts down his book and waves you inside. The inside of the carriage is very similar to the outside. It is simple but lovingly crafted. Father Sidoti sits across from you, his eyes darting between you and the small stack of books on the seat next to him. He signals the coachman by tapping the ceiling of the carriage as you head off towards Paris. He stares at you for a while and almost starts talking before thinking better of it. This process repeats a few more times before he finally speaks. He asks what happens. I'm just gonna say, I'm looking for my missing fiancé, but it turns out this party was held by one of his enemies. He raised his eyebrows. What a worrying turn of events. A missing fiancé, sudden enemies, and now a missing carriage. Sounds like you've been beset by quite the number of misfortunes. I'm guessing, then, that you must be the one I have heard about. I am sorry that our host felt it acceptable to treat you so poorly. Are you all right? I'm not happy with what happened, but I will be all right. Or, I get the impression you're not from Paris. What brings you here? I think I want to express interest in him. You're right. I was born and raised in Rome. My family's about as traditional as it comes, so when my parents had 3 sons, they knew what to do with us immediately. 1 man of arms, 1 man of letters, and 1 man of the cloth. The seminary wasn't bad. It was the first time in my life that people were happy I spent all of my time reading. I was ordained a few years ago and shuffled around to help with various parishes in Rome. All the older priests liked me because I didn't talk too much. He blushes for a moment, stares out the window. Though that made holding mass a little difficult for me. A lot of awkward silences. A few months ago, I was pulled aside and told that I would be sent to Paris. There's been a lot of unrest here. My superiors in Rome wanted an outside opinion. He pauses for a moment to fiddle with his rosary. You see, sending a bishop or cardinal here with all that retinue would arouse too much suspicion. It'd make people think something bad was going to happen. A single priest? Nobody notices that. Sorry, I didn't mean to bore you with my life story. I ramble when I'm nervous. Are you nervous? Would you believe this is the first time I've shared my carriage with an enchanting woman? Don't worry, father, this is new to me as well. Well, at least we're on equal footing. But what about you? Are you alright? I am not happy about what happened, but I will be alright. Resilience is good, he replies, trailing off for a moment. Just make sure to give yourself time to rest. Even the most minor of injuries can wear on the soul if left uncared for. Eventually, the conversation dies down, the adrenaline rush of the night's disasters and indignities giving way to simple exhaustion. Father Sidoti settles into his books, and you occupy yourself with watching the scenery go by, and trying not to fall asleep. The carriage stops, and the coachman opens the door. As you step down into the street, Father Sidoti leans out of the carriage to look at your home. Ah, I see you've chosen to live humbly. It's good for the soul, he muses aloud. Dude, he is not good with people. But I've gained a little favor with him. Until we meet again, madame, he calls cheerily before the carriage drives off to the night. You realize that Camille is already waiting for you at the door. Who was that? She asks. Most intriguing young priest. Hopefully someone I'll see again. Your mind brimming with new possibilities, you step inside and head upstairs. Slowly you get undressed and open your journal to record exactly what transpired tonight. Oh no, his name is Ludovico? Why is that bad?
Someone dies in the fucking revolution, I bet.
I hope he's not doomed. Ludovico, Superbase says, that can be one of two ways. Either A, that's a famous priest, or it's meant to reference him. Dude,
Famous priest for what? Being quartered during the revolution or something? I'm waiting for that to happen.
Or B, a form of torture a technique is named for.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
What is happening behind the scenes of this game?
I don't know. I don't know enough about history. Well, 50-50. Your mind brimming with new possibilities, you step inside and head upstairs. Slowly, you get undressed and open your journal to record exactly what transpired tonight. So, I lost some novelty with my, what's-a-face gown at Cheap Crown Gossip.
What was the Humble Bundle?
The Humble Bundle for this?
Yeah, was it like a tragedy of the past or something?
I don't remember. If you really want to know, I can try to look in my purchase history.
I'm just curious about like what's going on. I'm just so bothered by like, whoa, there's so much that could be possibly going on right now.
So, ultimately, from that party, I gained a Cheap Crown Gossip. I lost 27 credibility, but ultimately, I mean, I was at 0 and I'm at 5 now, because you can't go into negative credibility, it seems. I lost 10 coins, which I really wish I hadn't spent the money on her, because she was a B. I gained 7 peril, although it looks like I'm at 10 peril, but whatever. And I have 1 favor with Ludovico. So it's been almost an hour. I feel like maybe... Oh, you found out why your stealth was so high, Superbase? What happened? So that was all the prologue. Apparently you took your armor off to repair it and forgot to put it back on. Oh no, I hope you didn't find out by dying. But yeah, I guess I can give my thoughts about the game really quickly. So far, you found out because your inventory was full of loot. And so you're like, wait, how can I carry this much? I think I like this game so far. I'm pretty intrigued. It seems pretty well written. Small grammar mistakes aside. And I've only seen the one. And it's a very common one that a lot of people make. It's not like it's a bad misspelling or something. What items can I use to make space? The social combat is interesting. I like the fact that if you choose some conversations, you have to weigh the opportunity costs. That's pretty cool. I'm intrigued and want to see more. And I think we're gonna... Oh, I'm so sorry, Coffee Mike. Maybe can you run the vent, please? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're sorry.
It's okay. I'm gonna run an ad break. I'll be right back.
Smoky?
It's a little smoky.
I'm sorry, beautiful.
That's okay.
It's weird because I'm standing right in front of it and the smoke doesn't bother me, so I'm sorry.
Okay. I think I'm better. I also found out what bundle I got this in. So it was the Love is in the Air bundle, which I got back in February of this year. And it had mostly visual novel stuff. It did also have Max Gentleman's Sexy Business, which is like a productivity thing. The other ones I have not played yet, but I will get there. They just come later in the alphabet. So yeah, that was the bundle I got it from. I got this last February. I guess it was like a Valentine's Day bundle. So I guess we will continue on to the next morning here. The morning after disaster. Considering this is called the morning after disaster, yeah, I think there was no good option there. And I was a scripted failure, like you're saying, Superbase. You awaken the next morning in a bed that still feels unfamiliar. In the process of waking up, you start to recall the last night's humiliations and wish that they were merely the product of your fitful dreams. Unable to go back to sleep, you spend some time tossing and turning in bed before finally sitting up. Nothing is going to make last night go away. The only option is deciding what to do next. You feel exhausted, not physically, but in your very soul, like your fate in Paris has already been decided, and that to remain here would be pointless. It would just be the humiliations of last night over and over again. However, stronger than that exhaustion is the simmering rage you feel at the outrageousness of your circumstances, at the injustice of your treatment, and at the thought of going back to your tiny village after finally making it here to Paris. No, you must not go back. You cannot go back, because then the story would be over, not while a single candle of your ambition still burns. Camille pops into your room, already dressed and ready for the day. Bonjour, madame, she beams. It looks like you have quite an active night. Is there anything I can get you? Please find a spare pillow and smother me. No. Some kind of refreshment, please? Certainly, madame. What can I get you? I will do some tea. Camille returns so quickly to the tea, you're certain she's made it ahead of time. It's piping hot, fragrant, not too bitter. You drink the brew in silence, the gears of your mind slowly getting up to speed. That tiredness fades, your anger does not. I've gained a little credibility, I think because I drank tea instead of alcohol. You take a few moments to finish your drink in silence and collect your thoughts. Something that keeps coming to mind is all the gossip you've heard during your time at the party. Most of it was idle prattle, but some of it felt scandalous and valuable. Without an inheritance or a job, you'll need a way to make some money. Maybe someone would be willing to buy this gossip? Is that a thing that people do? Camille taps her chin thoughtfully. Well, when I was at Le Halles the other day, someone mentioned something about a newspaper with these amazing society pages. I think it was called La Trompette du Peuple.
A little bit of noise, sorry.
Oh, okay. Is the pan coming clean okay?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit harder to clean, but I mean,
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, they said, using like a sponge or like a little, like the brush or a washcloth might be necessary.
Incredible.
The brush works really well?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said you can literally use metal in that pan and it should not scratch, so the brush should be totally fine.
Yeah, that's good.
La Trompette du Peuple is now available to visit in the Paris map. They have to get their stories from somewhere, why not you? In fact, I bet you'll be great at that. I've gone from Baroness to B to Gossip Monger. Great, just great. With that, your day begins. I will explore Paris. A popular, if unscrupulous, newspaper. Spend the day here to sell gossip, manipulate public opinion, and update your knowledge of the political factions in Paris. Random note, even if I was a baroness proper, the Viscountess would still outrank me. I'm going to visit location. It's a good thing that I spent the time at that party getting gossip, because it sounds like I'll be able to sell it now. That most reputable paper. You walk through the city, following Camille's directions. Eventually you find yourself threading through narrower and narrower streets. The alleys, packed with refuse and the occasional vagrant napping in the shade, feel almost oppressive in their closeness. Suddenly, the alleys open up into a wider street near a square. You can hear the splashing of a fountain nearby. You finally find the sign for La Trompette du Peuple. The paint appears to be fresh, but the office seems awfully small. The door is locked, so you give it a knock. Nobody answers. Looking around you, you find a hastily written note lodged in the doorframe. It reads, "Office temporarily closed. Engaging in emergency fundraising efforts. We apologize for the inconvenience. Management, no money for you." It's at that moment you realize the splashing of the fountain is getting louder, accompanied by some of the most inventive profanity you've ever heard. Against your better judgment, you decide to investigate. Aha! A reedy voice shouts triumphantly. You come upon a man in grubby finery, up to his knees in the fountain. His shoes have carefully been placed at the water's edge. He does a little jig as he drops a wet coin into his snuff box, which is clutched tightly in his other hand. Noticing your presence, the man in the fountain turns to you with a nod and a smile that attempts to be ingratiating. Bonjour, madame. Are you serious? This is your emergency fundraising? The stranger smiles sours as he marches out of the fountain. I shall have you know that fundraising is far more difficult than it appears. Even the most noble of men must occasionally stoop low to accomplish great things. If I wanted to sell some gossip, how would that work? New to this, are you? Don't worry, it's much easier than you think. I can click on one of them. Queen was recently seen bedecked in a spectacular new diamond necklace as a sign of royal power or unnecessary excess. Gossip's value is determined by its tier and freshness, but also has an effect. If you peddle influence, I will take the gossip for free, but you can use that effect to change the standing of a faction. However, right now you need money, so click on the Sell Gossip option. Be sure you'd like to sell this cheap crown gossip for £30. If you do this, there will be no chance of the public finding out. Okay. Can I sell this gossip too? There should be a 1 in 20 chance of the public finding out. Okay. I wake up the next morning to a polite knock on your bedroom's door frame. Camille enters carrying a small armload of letters. Madame? Camille starts, both confused and hesitant. There are a lot of letters here. Are they for me or for they are Armand? They're for you, madame. Every single one, Camille beams. Are these party invitations? Why would anyone invite me to a party? Well, madame, you're a little famous right now, Camille replies. Everyone's heard about your run-in with the dreadful party host a few days ago, how they preyed upon your honor and spirited away your carriage driver, leaving you trapped and alone. You don't think that's exactly how it happened, but decide against fretting over the details. Camille starts to talk faster and faster. Then, when all was lost, you were saved by a beautiful stranger who escorted you home in the moonlight. It's so romantic, no? Oh, the rumors are already running rampant. Why, just the market the other day, I heard someone say that you've taken a liking to... Camille stops, stares into space, and blushes. Actually, never mind that. Never mind what? It's just rumors from the marketplace, madame. Nothing you should dignify. In any case, this is your chance to meet people in the city who don't hate you, or Monsieur Armand. People think I'm romantically involved with the priest. It is a Roman Catholic priest, I'm assuming, Italian. They don't marry. I have received many party invitations. I can now receive party invitations from all over Paris. In fact, I am sure that anyone who really judges you fairly is going to love you. That's all well and good, but how does any of this work? Don't worry, madame, it is quite simple. You've just been invited to several parties. Camille will show you new invitations as you receive them. Choose accept or decline to decide which parties you'll attend, or choose close to skip and choose later. Parties take up your whole day, but you can find gossip and advance certain stories there. And if you attend too many parties in a row, then you get exhausted. Accepting today will award you 5 credibility. Ignoring this invitation will cost you 5 credibility. I will receive church gossip at this party. Monsieur Marionette to his choir recital. This intimate party is sure to be very height of cheerful gaiety. That sounds fun. Choir recital. So I've accepted this. So now I will close it. Madame Rebellion requests the attendance to her wine tasting on the 29th. Which factions are you most interested in? Split date coming up. I can go to the Crown, or I can go to the Revolution. I believe the dress that I bought, the Revolution likes. Where's the attendance to her poetry salon? Intimate party is sure to be the purest form of affirmation. Yeah, so I will accept this one. On the 5th of April... plus the attendance to a military ball. Intimate party is sure to be the very height of merry celebration. So it seems like I'm gonna have to start planning my days now. Like, you know, when do I go buy a new dress? When do I go sell gossip? Because it seems like I can only do one thing per day. You can select any invitation on the calendar to see more details about it, declining to attend an invitation that same day. Oh, deciding to attend gives you a small bonus to credibility. Ooh. Okay, so I can see information about it. So I guess I'm gonna accept. Because I have days in between, so... So my next one coming up is church. So I probably should buy a dress that the church likes. So I'm going to explore Paris. I have more options now. But I am going to go to the dress shop. The price has gone up. I could wear this to both the church and the military party. And the revolution party. Did I already buy this one? I already have that one, so I shouldn't buy it again. I'll buy the cheaper flower one. And now I am poor. Yep, so that indeed takes up the entire day. Next morning, you wake up from a long night's rest, feeling pretty much the same as you did last night. Now that I think about it, you've been feeling terrible since that party a few nights ago. Female enters the room carrying some breakfast. Bonjour, madame. You look unwell. Nicely spotted. I also feel unwell. Well, don't worry. This thing used to happen with Monsieur Armand all the time. He would attend all these parties and forget sometimes he needed to rest. Armand was always the sort of person who burned the candle at both ends. In fact, you were both often guilty of this, one reason you two got along so well together. The more parties he attended, the more exhausted he was, which made things harder and harder for him. Remember, madame, instead of spending the day outside, you can always rest at home for a day to recover your strength. There's nothing wrong with taking a break every now and then. Home is now available on the Paris map. I might just do that. So yeah, I'm going to rest before the party. Spend the night staying home, remove all levels of exhaustion. I don't know how I tell if I have exhaustion, but pretty sure they were saying I was, so. Decided to take the day off, spend time at home, resting, recuperating. After spending the day in, take care of yourself, doing some light reading, you finally feel recharged. Exhaustion didn't affect you before has passed. Oh! Yeah, I think that was what that was. There was a little thing there. With that complete, you turn your focus to other matters that demand your attention. It's now the 26th. Time to do the party! Going to a choir recital! Gonna wear my new outfit. Let's go! As your carriage nears the party, you consider taking one last moment to assess your preparations. Those preparations, you pause to consider how well rested you feel. You're neither well rested nor exhausted. Nothing is holding you back from doing your best in this game of wits. You check a tiny mirror you keep in the carriage, so you are wearing your humble cowl and skirt to a party being held by the church. The guests approve of your outfit, and your credibility has increased a lot. Wow. With preparations like this, tonight should be a largely positive affair. You step out of your carriage and hear the ripple of whispers that signal your arrival to any social event these days. There is a small line in the entryway of the cathedral as guests are waiting to get in. While you're standing in this line, you manage to overhear an interesting rumor. You make a mental note of it just in case. I have gained a piece of cheap church gossip. A servant checked your invitation and everything seems to be in order. I am too poor. So I don't think I am going to gift some wine, unfortunately. Skirts you, pass her by, and enter the party. Now let the games begin. This game, I feel like, is very feminine. Just, you know, the whole point is, like, your social relationships with people and, like, what you're wearing. Like, it's just very feminine. Not that that's a bad thing. I just haven't played very many games like this. That guy again. Forgiveness is divine. A jilted gentleman has sought out your company and has quite the grudge to settle. However, firmly held grudges often lead to loose tongues. I can get cheap church gossip, shocking church gossip, and outrageous church gossip. Conversation. Approached by the woman who is playing a most unusual game with the host. This strange game must be conducted in secret, but is also uniquely to your sort of talents. So, like, betting, I suppose. Why is there a woman here who looks so much like you? Party. Pick conversation. Two men have sequestered themselves in a chapel to discuss a set of rumors so dire they fear to speak them out loud. While together they are resolute, they may prove easy to tempt when separated. I can lose favor with Ludovico. There's a bunch of gossip in here. It doesn't help that in the era the game was set, this was how the majority of women in upper class did life. A game that must be played improper and leaning themselves to your favor. They are having an affair, letters. These two? Oh, in private? I mean, I don't know that I really want to sell church gossip, because I think I want to ingratiate myself to the church on this playthrough. Yeah, it's potential rewards, exactly. So I'd rather not be in a situation where I need to sell church secrets in order to make money. But this one I might be able to get bourgeoisie gossip, so I'm gonna try picking this conversation. Not all church gossip is bad. Yeah, it won't necessarily get back to me. This one has a lot of different gossips. Maybe you find someone corrupt and you out them. I really need money. Just have a plan and play to it. I think I'm gonna try to get the military secrets. You notice two men sequestered off to the side in the chapel, speaking in low tones, while their eyes glance furtively about. The sight alone is enough to draw you towards it, like a devout pilgrim toward a holy place. Indeed, I have heard some rather fascinating things among the priests I know, but even now I fear that the wrong person might overhear it. We're two of a kind, then. Some of my friends have remained in the military, and they have a lot to say about the sorry state of affairs there. I can barely keep such things to myself, but the risks are too great. I'm simply too close to the story, and the consequences for indiscretion could be dire indeed. I suppose we have nothing to discuss, then. Even at this distance, you can see that these men are so overflowing with their desire to spill their respective secrets that it would be a trivial task to get them to speak. However, they're to be believed, you'll certainly anger the members of whatever group that you take their gossip from. They start walking away from each other. Who should you follow? I want something about the military. I can use that. Because, like I said, I don't want to hurt my stand with the church. As they part ways, you follow the former soldier at a distance. You catch up to him in a different part of the party, far from his erstwhile companion. "Good afternoon, madame," he says in surprise as you approach him. He almost doffs his hat to you, before remembering he isn't wearing a hat. Your efforts to pry the secrets from this man are so easy that you almost feel bad for him. He may have fought in the Americas, but in this battle of wits, he is completely unarmed. I've gained a piece of cheap military gossip. Of course, there are obvious consequences for dealing with a man who clearly can't keep a secret. It won't be long for the entire army knows that you sought out rumors about them. I lost favor with Alex, who I don't yet know. The conversation that follows afterward is decent, if nothing else. This is especially good because you'll have to keep talking with him for some time. This dance has a particular rhythm, and one can't leave too early, lest they risk arousing even further suspicion. However, the moment you spot a polite opening in the conversation, you manage to break away. All things considered, that certainly feels like a success. I wonder why I only got the cheap gossip. Maybe I don't have enough credibility yet? And now I have different conversations available to me. A chambermaid has been charged with returning a lost pouch of coins. Perhaps you can assist her with such an endeavor? I can choose to steal the money, I guess. Find yourself speaking with a woman who could tell you of some gossip concerning the church. All you have to do is deflect the tiresome bloviating of a particularly boastful church patron. Three different kinds of church gossip. Blessed secrecy. The couple in this section of the party seems to be absolutely brimming with gossip and secrets. It feels like there's something they're just not telling you. It could take some convincing, but such hidden truths could be valuable. You come across a woman interviewing a man for the sake of a book, but something doesn't seem quite right about the man's outrageous claims. I'm gonna pick this conversation. You step back in the vestibule for a moment so you can collect your thoughts and get the first opportunity to speak with any new arrivals to the party. It's then you see two individuals speaking together in a corner. The fact that they are trying to stay away from everyone else only increases your interest in their conversation. You recognize neither the bespectacled woman nor the extravagantly dressed gentleman that she is speaking with. However, judging from the fact that she pauses to write whenever he speaks, you can surmise that she is interviewing him. It becomes apparent via your spying that these people are Nika Ikov, a foreign author looking for inspiration for her latest novel, as well as Guillaume de Sable, a self-styled libertine philosopher, an appellation that doesn't seem to require much in the way of academic credentials. You described yourself earlier as a patron of the arts. What is your relationship with theater? Have you sponsored any performances? I am no mere tight-fisted patron, good madame. I am an inspiration, a muse, if you will. In fact, when Beaumarchais wrote The Barber of Seville, I was his inspiration for Count Almaviva. The sharply dressed man proudly replies between long gulps of wine, so he didn't actually give any money. From what you remember of that play, that's not something to be particularly proud of. It also doesn't sound even vaguely true. Oh, this will be fantastic for my book, monsieur. I must ask, how did you and Monsieur Bertrand meet? Ah, well, we met at a banquet, held by a visiting Algonquian prince. I'm sorry, did you say an Algonquian prince? He came across the ocean from the Americas and then held a banquet? The author replies, far more suspicious of this particular claim. Guillaume glances to you and raises an eyebrow. He knows his game is almost up. I don't want to lie to the lady. I'll increase my danger. Curses, Guillaume says with a sneer, shooting you a nasty look. I've gained a little peril. There's simply no fun at all, madame, he continues, shaking his head in disgust. I shall find my entertainments elsewhere then. Monsieur de Saval drinks his wineglass and storms away with a sour look on his face. While that might seem unpleasant, it also means you have some decent gossip, given that you caught a prominent figure in the bourgeoisie flagrantly lying about his accomplishments. I have gained a piece of cheap bourgeoisie gossip. After a few seconds, shocked seconds, Madame Icov gives you a slow curtsy. Merci, madame. I know it may seem unimportant to most, but my research for this novel is very important to me. I appreciate that you care enough to stop someone from filling it with outlandish falsehoods. I've gained some credibility. With that, she leaves, and you decide to examine the rest of the party. Perhaps you'll find another opportunity out there amongst the crowds. Okay, I feel like that went alright. So I got cheap church gossip. A bishop has called for the censorship of an opera critical of the church. The king has signaled his assent, but has taken weeks to make a pronouncement. Is the king taking the request seriously or ignoring it? It almost seems like more like royalty gossip, but alright. Cheap military gossip. An older veteran who stands accused of murder has been discovered to be receiving care packages delivered by his soldiers to his jail cell. Is this a sign of loyalty or corruption? Ooh. Cheap bourgeoisie gossip. A coalition of members of bourgeoisie has been investing a large amount of money in hot air balloons. Are they visionaries? Or just wasting money on ridiculous fancies? I don't like that the gossip doesn't relate to what we just talked about. 14 credibility, 5 peril, -1 outs favor. The royalty of most regions is typically a figure because the church backs them. There's a reason why they get crowned by the church and not the military, yeah. I'm going to explore Paris. Fabric shortage, perils of journalism, providing for the poor, minions and misdirection. I kind of want to get some money. Location. Pierre's office either looks marginally cleaner than it was before, or he's managed to shuffle the mess into differently shaped piles. Honestly, it's hard to tell. Spend a few moments waiting around the entryway before Pierre arrives, and he seems quite enthused by your presence. Why, if it isn't my newest confidant, please come in. Have you come back with more delicious information, or perhaps are you trying to find someone? Where's Armand, and how do you know that I'm looking for him? Madame, my suspicions about your search were founded in your newfound notoriety. Suspicions which you've been so kind as to confirm for me. Pierre favors you with a short and elegant bow. Merci beaucoup. I have lost some credibility. Oh. As for your fiancé's whereabouts, I don't know his exact address, or probably would be a wealthier man by now, Pierre admits, pausing to examine your reaction. However, I happen to have some leads, and I can say I already like you more than some of the men that are looking for him. However, before I lay out my terms, I must satisfy my own professional curiosity. How well do you really know your beloved Armand? It's early February, and take a seat at your usual spot in Les Cygnes, a small tavern in your hometown. The hood of your cloak is still up, but it's less to do with snow outside and more to do with the fact that you don't want it to talk to anyone else here. After a few minutes of trying to read your book, but failing to really get into it, you hear a set of footsteps approaching your table. Today on stream, Letters discovers the most fun way to play a rogue. What is that? Bonjour, Yvette. I hope you weren't waiting too long. Oh, we finally meet Armand. Not polite to keep a lady waiting. Je suis désolé, ma chérie. It's taking so much longer to get my affairs in order than I thought. Now I'm already spoiling our last night. Armand, please, I was only kidding. Armand gives an audible sigh of relief. While he usually cares about keeping his appointments, he rarely lets something like this get to him. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Two grammar mistakes in one sentence. I'm sorry, it's just the Estates General is important, but so are you. I am packing and writing letters night and day in order to get ready, but all the time I spend on that is time I'm not spending with you. A rogue's entire description is a cunning opportunist looking to turn situations to their advantage for their own goals. Oh. He pauses and takes a deep breath. Enough of that. If I want to feel sorry for myself, I can do it on the carriage to Paris. Tonight is for making sweet memories. He waves to a barmaid, who brings you a bottle of wine and some glasses, along with a loaf of freshly baked bread that is still steaming when it touches the table. Oh my god, I'm hungry. Armand fills your glass first. My father's been talking my ear off about this particular vintage. I hope it's up to your standards. Indeed, growth can pick to excel in social combat. Oh, that's cool. An ad's about to run. I'm gonna get a little bit of food, so I shall BRB. I've determined a flaw in my plan. I can't read out loud and chew at the same time. We'll just, finish the scene up. Armand fills your glass first. My father's been talking my ear off about this particular vintage. I hope it's up to your standards. He then fills his own, raises a glass for a toast. To France. The General Assembly, but most importantly, to us. The red wine is deep and full-bodied, smells of leather, blackberries, and cloves. Some of the best you've had, and you can tell Armand is enjoying it as well. You spend an hour finishing the bottle together, pausing occasionally to nibble at the bread. All the while, you trade jokes, news from around the village, and simply try to forget this is the last you'll see of each other for months. With the wine finished, Armand pauses to place the bottle on its side. A curious habit he picked up from his father. He then takes a deep breath and waits a moment before saying, "The snow appears to have stopped. Would you like to join me outside? I have something I want to show you." Outside, the night air is brisk. Even colors of moonlight, sky are cold. It's a stark contrast from the fireside warmth of the tavern. Yet, despite the open air, it feels more intimate and personal than the small tavern you left behind. While I like listening as much as the next man, I prefer to end our night with something that is just about us, Armand says in a soft, low voice. He turns and holds out his elbow for you to grab onto. Care for your walk? I'd love to. Step in close, wrapping your arms around him before you wander off in the moonlight. I gain some favor with Armand. You walk along the edge of the lake, the only sound being the whispers of wind, the sound of your footfalls, the steady rhythm of each other's breath. Your head leans on his shoulder. His body feels both warm and familiar. The moon is full, the town distant, and it feels like you're the only two people in the entire world. Without a word, Armand leans toward you, his eyes closed. Kiss him. Your lips meet his, and a joyful shiver runs through your body. His hand comes up to stroke the side of your face as his other arm hugs you close. Not sure how long your kiss lasts. Time seems to have lost some of its importance. Pull away from each other, you stare into his eyes. His face is a mixture of excitement and surprise. He whispers to you, I hope every kiss we have is as good as that one. Gain more favor with Armand. Armand breathes deep, preparing himself for his next words. It's then that a man stumbles out of the darkness towards you, glancing about himself and trying to catch his breath. Armand, I've been looking everywhere for you, he whispers hoarsely, his accent foreign and wholly unfamiliar. All you know that he isn't French, nor is he English. Your town is relatively small, yet you still don't recognize the man. Armand, who's this? Eyes widening for a moment, he seems to notice you for the first time. I am Charles, a good friend of Monsieur Armand, he states slowly and carefully. I was afraid he had already left for a States General. Charles places a small leather case in Armand's hands. I just want to make sure he didn't forget these documents. It's quite fortunate I found him in time. And who might you be, madame? Your good friend's fiancé. Charles winces as if he's being cut. I'm so sorry, madame. That's very rude of me. It's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance. He looks back and forth between the two of you and gives a quick formal bow. You two are obviously in the middle of something important. Please excuse my intrusion. One wait. With that, Charles leaves. You and Armand are left to stare at each other silently for a minute. What's going on, and are you in trouble? How can I help? Armand exhales and smiles, but there's still an air of tension about him. Not right now, no. It's all very vague at the moment. There's so much going on that I don't want to give you something new to worry about. Still, thank you. It makes me glad to know I still have you on my side. I gain more favor with him. I promise I'll explain all this when it's over. Kira is staring at you. You must have gotten lost in your thoughts for a moment. Madame, I was asking, how well do you know your fiancé? Perhaps I don't know him as well as I thought. Kira notes your confusion, and for a moment almost looks sympathetic. Well, madame, perhaps it's time that you learn as much as you can, which is something I can certainly help with. You see, I'm looking to run a new social piece, something that will capture the imagination of the public. Kira favors you with a broad, toothy grin. It may also rekindle some old rivalries, so to speak. After all, it's easier to sell newspapers when there's something to write about. If you bring me gossip related to the bourgeoisie, I will tell you where to learn more about your strange Armand. Oh, guess what? I happen to have some bourgeoisie gossip. Pierre's asked a favor of you. Sell him specific types of fresh gossip in the allotted time, and you'll receive special rewards. You can track these requests in the gossip tab of your journal. Once you get me this gossip, my journalistic genius shall handle the rest. Now then, to business? I happen to have some cheap bourgeoisie gossip. Thank you, madame. This is exactly the kind of salacious trash our esteemed readers require. I'll take care of your reward immediately. So is he gonna tell me this stuff? Okay, now he's going to. Alright. Here's you've done me a great service. With this gossip, I finally lost my most controversial piece yet. In fact, contributions must be so great they must be recognized. I'm going to call you no longer a mere gossip monger. Today you are a journalist. I've reached the rank of journalist. The title itself is meaningless, but it certainly sounds nice. Now I assume you should know more about your beloved Armand. Before we get into that, why did you need me specifically to do this? To be honest, I'm in a bit of a tough situation. Newspapers like my own have always existed in one unofficial capacity or another, but with the end of the royal censorship, newspapers are opening every day. Competition for readership and for new information has become ridiculous. I can't just print gossip that's been sold to everyone else. My readers expect something unique in these pages, not the same unoriginal tripe bandied about in these lesser papers. He continued his outrage, shockingly sincere. I need you because my other sources have taken their business to less esteemed publications. If I'm your only real source, shouldn't I be getting paid more? Madame, but if only I could, I would pay for your gracious insights with bars of silver and fistfuls of rubies, as that is what they are worth. However, while the pursuit of truth may make a man virtuous, it does not make him wealthy. The coins are all I can spare, so I need all that remains to keep the wheels of my press turning. While the empty liquor bottles laying on the ground make you doubt his honesty a little, you get the feeling he isn't going to budge on this. But please, enough about such ignoble matters. You are here to learn your fiancé, non? May shock you to learn that Armand managed to keep some rather opinionated company, Pierre says with careful circumspection of someone severely downplaying the seriousness of the situation. Oh god. While the details of their beliefs have been remarkably difficult to track down, I know two things about their views. The first is they show an open disdain for the country's current laws and privileges, which make them unwelcome with the aristocracy supporting the crown. However, they also harbor strong devotion to the Queen, which alienated them to the nationalists in the Revolution. There's a studio in the western part of the city, just south of the Seine, where he has some like-minded individuals prefer to discuss the proper course for the country. Painters in the front, planning in the back. Pierre starts scribbling on a piece of paper. When he hands it off to you, you find it to be an address. The Get Royal raided the studio a month ago and arrested everyone there, Pierre explains. While supporting the Queen is certainly no crime, something about this group's beliefs was making someone in power quite uncomfortable. The studio's been abandoned ever since. Go there and you might find something that leads you to Armand. Oh, so he might just be in jail! The abandoned studio is now available for you to visit on the Paris map. Now, before you leave, Madame, I hope you do not forget about me and my humble paper. I still find your social insights valuable, and I'm always willing to pay for anything else you can bring to me. Like to think we're good business partners, no? But of course, Pierre, this has been a delight. Pierre puts down his snuff box and favors you with a deep and theatrical bow. Now you flatter me, Madame. Bon chance, and may God see fit to reunite you and Armand in great haste. At the mention of God, Pierre makes a sign of cross, but you're pretty sure he did it backwards. Adieu, and may our paths cross again. Next morning, you find a letter on your nightstand. Camille must have brought it when you were still asleep. It's sealed with golden wax and the initials LS. Opening up, you find a letter from Ludovico, written in well-practiced, perfect handwriting of someone who spends the most of their day among books, scrolls, and tomes. Cheerfully bet, while I'm thankful that I met you on that fateful night, I still cannot forget the terrible sins committed against you by that wicked host. In fact, I've done some research of my own and believe I have found information you'll find quite interesting. Ludovico goes on to describe a particular fountain deep in the city. He'd like to meet you in secret as he's worried about someone intercepting the letter. Is your enemy really that powerful? Ludovico's clue is now available to visit in the Paris map. Please meet me there as soon as you can, and I will share what I know. Miss Notations, respectuous Ludovico. Using your map, it doesn't take long to figure out what the particular fountain is. In fact, you could visit it today if you like. But I probably need to rest before my next party. I'm wondering if I can save the game. And it's almost 11, so I'm gonna, eat and stuff. But just some final thoughts about this game. Rest clears all fatigue, so I can build up a bunch of fatigue and then, sacrifice this party. I don't need to rest after every party, yeah. But yeah. I think this game is pretty good. It's interesting. I haven't really played anything exactly like this before. I'm assuming that there's maybe a romantic element at some point, since it was sold in the Love Bundle in February. Maybe I can date the priest. I don't know. It seems like that would be odd, but perhaps. But yeah, I think I'll play more of this game. Yeah, but that's going to be it for me today. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and please be sure to stay safe. Yeah, it's a dynamic story. That's why visual novels are so exciting. So there's not one, oh, this will happen. Yeah, you can shape the story. Interactive fiction. Depending on your choices, it can easily change. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that you have a good rest of your day, and, best wishes. I hope everything works out for you, Super Base. And, yeah. Bye.